Welcome back, everybody, to WagerTalk TV. I'm WagerTalk.com's Ross the Boss Benjamin, and I got two NFL free pick winners for you today, and they come in games between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings and the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who will prevail in a battle of backup quarterbacks in the Vikings and Bengals game? Uh, Sort of an oddity to see two backup quarterbacks going at it in week three already, but that's the case. So who's going to come out on top there? And also, is Houston going to be able to avoid an 0-3 start to the season? Is Jacksonville going to be able to recover from a gut-wrenching loss at Pittsburgh last week that dropped their season record to 1-1? I have those answers and much more. Before I get to that, real quickly, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, Wager Talk TV, take a second to do so and hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And while you're at it, click on the alert notification bell for Wager Talk TV, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our great content going up on our great channel. Be kind enough to give my video a like here, folks, as I put my best foot forward each and every day to try to bring you a quality free pick video, free pick winners, and quality video, I should say, each and every day. And I hope you would appreciate that. And if you do, hit that like button. If you don't, I appreciate your viewing. Anyway, let us know who you like in the week 3 NFL card on Sunday. Simply by putting your picks in the comments section, folks. And you guys have been doing a great job of this in terms of putting picks up. And if you disagree with me and if you disagree with your fellow viewers, you haven't been argumentative. And a lot of you disagree with my pick on the Miami and Buffalo game. I like the over in that game, and you were wrong, but that's okay. That's why I do it for a living and you don't. But on occasion, that's not going to be the case. And it's okay because none of you were disrespectful in how you presented that. So my point being is, let's keep it a positive community because we have different opinions. It's sports betting. That's going to happen. Doesn't mean we have to go to war. It should prompt healthy conversations. So in any event, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's start with the Bengals and the Vikings. The Vikings right now a 3-point favorite, and the total is 42. I mentioned the two backup quarterbacks that will be going at it in this one. It'll be Jake Browning for the Cincinnati Bengals. It'll be veteran Carson Wentz for the Minnesota Vikings. The Bengals are off to a 2-0 start, but very deceiving. I guess on a positive note for Cincinnati fans, it beats the starts they've been getting off to in recent seasons. But, on the other hand, they were very lucky to come away with wins in both games. I mean, they were outgained badly in both games by a margin of 143 yards per contest, to be exact. And, they beat the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns field goal kicker missed a chip shot field goal at the end of regulation time that would have won that game. And then last week, they needed a touchdown with just 13 seconds left to play to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. But give them credit because last week Jake Browning came in when Joe Burrow went down. By the way, Burrow's going to be out for an estimated 3 months with a toe injury. And he did a great job. He passed for over 240 yards. Didn't get off to a great start, but in the second half, he was lights out. Here's the thing, though. The Vikings defense, which is pretty damn good, is going to have a full week to prepare for Jake Browning, specifically for him, where the Jaguars were at a little bit of a disadvantage because they prepared for Joe Burrow, and then they were thrown a curveball, and they should have came up big against a backup quarterback, but that wasn't the case. In any event, it's always an advantage for a defense to prepare for a backup quarterback for an entire week, as opposed to a backup quarterback coming in off the bench and you just throws you all out of whack in terms of what your defensive game plan is. Minnesota, by the way, coming off a disappointing 22-6 home loss to Atlanta. Speaking of losing starting quarterbacks, J.J. McCarthy has been ruled out of this game with an injury, and quite frankly, folks, he hasn't performed well at all. I mean, he's young, right? Last year he was a rookie. He got hurt in the preseason, was going to be their starting quarterback, and Sam Darnold ended up doing a terrific job in leading the Vikings to a playoff berth. But having said that, McCarthy in his first two games here, basically a rookie quarterback, technically in his second year, 58% completion rate, 2 touchdowns against 3 interceptions. He's been less than impressive. Basically, folks, McCarthy's played one good quarter of football through the first two games, and that was the fourth quarter against the Chicago Bears. And veteran Carson Wentz takes over. Normally, I would say there's a huge drop off in the NFL when you go from your starter to your backup. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Carson Wentz, look, he's been a huge disappointment, former number one draft choice of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's had several opportunities to light the lamp in terms of showing people what he could do, and he's failed on occasion, but he's still not a terrible quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. And I think a conservative game plan you'll see from the Vikings in this one, and their defense should fare very well against the Cincinnati backup Jake Browning's. Minnesota's defense, first two games, just 321.5 yards per game allowed, and they also amassed 5 sacks in those two games, and that's going to be key against Cincinnati because their offensive line is still not their strength, and you could get pressure on the quarterback when you play the Cincinnati Bengals. I like the Vikings here. I know I'm going to be in the minority here, and I know that the Bengals are going to see a lot of money, but I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings here, late of the 3 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Before I get to my next game, which is Houston at Jacksonville, folks, just a friendly reminder, went 8-4 with my football picks last week, and we still are running that great special, $49 Weekend Warrior special. And we ran it last week. We're running it this week, and I don't know how much further we're going to go with that, but I can guarantee it won't be long. So take advantage of this offer. It's going to get you all my Saturday college football selections, all my Sunday NFL, and my Monday night NFL pick. So a huge package. If you consider the fact my $35 5% best bet on Saturday in college football, I mean, that's $14 more to get the entire weekend with all my college football and all my NFL. Great deal, folks. And by the way, college football coming off a 4-0 sweep last week, and 10-5 on the year, and I continue to run hot in college football since the start of the 2023 season. Number one in units earned. Last year, number one in win percentage and units earned. And like I said, this year off to a 10-5 start and up 18 units as well. So great special. Take advantage of that Weekend Warrior special, $49. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all football plays that I put out. And you can get that by going to my personal link at WagerTalk.com, which is wt.buzz/RB. All right, so Houston at Jacksonville. The Jaguars, a 1.5-point home favorite. The total is 43.5. I don't know. Houston just doesn't look good to me right now. Obviously, they're 0-2, but it's not the 0-2. It's they're listless offensively. They've allowed a lot of rushing yards last week against Tampa Bay. Specifically speaking, the Bucs ran for 169 yards against the Houston defense last week, and that shapes up as problematic because they'll be facing a Jacksonville offense that has rushed for an average of just shy of 170 yards per game in the first two contests. So again, I think Jacksonville's going to be able to run the ball very successfully. I think that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for play action passes for Trevor Lawrence, and also the Houston offense hasn't helped out much. Their first two games, they had 265 yards against the Rams and 266 yards in last week's gut-wrenching 20-19 loss against Tampa Bay. I say that because Tampa Bay pulled that game out in the final minute. Baker Mayfield working his magic and stole victory away from Houston. And it's how a team responds to a gut-wrenching loss like that. And they're going on the road in a divisional matchup against a team off a loss as well, in a gut-wrenching loss themselves, because the Jacksonville Jaguars had that game pretty well in hand up until the last minute. They were winning 27-24 with 3 minutes to go last week at Pittsburgh, and they opted to go for it on 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. They don't make it. Cincinnati gets the ball back with a backup quarterback and marches down the field 95 yards for a touchdown with just 13 seconds left to play. However, I like more of what I've seen from Jacksonville than I have from Houston. I mean, Jacksonville in their first 2 games, averaging 26.5 points per game, scored 389 yards of total offense per contest. And their defense is just allowing a little over 300 yards per game in those first 2 games. So I like Jacksonville here, but rather than lay the 1.5, I'm opting to go on the money line. A lot of you who've been following me know that's the route I like to take. If I can get 140 or less, 145 or less in that area for a favorite of -2.5 or less, when I do like the favorite, I usually opt for the money line, and that's going to be the case here. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars -125 over the Houston Texans. Again, Minnesota Vikings -3 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Jacksonville Jaguars -125 over the Houston Texans. Don't forget to check out my X page. You'll see the handle right in the bottom left-hand corner of your page there, at Ross Benjamin, at Ross Benjamin 1, at Ross Benjamin 1. And you'll get either my Major League Baseball, NFL, or college football trend of the day each and every day, 7 days a week. $49 Weekend Warrior Special, folks. Everything in football on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday from yours truly for just 49 bucks. Take advantage of that offer. Until the next time, for Wager Talk TV and Ross the Boss Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.